Good to be back. Been a lot going on. Publicly and privately. A lot going on. Let's get right down to it, shall we? When things in the outside world are out of your control, as they pretty much always are, really, what can you fall back on? Well, you can fall back on personal empowerment. That's one of the reasons why in my Lightning Lowdown series, I started it off, that first video that people were complaining they could barely hear. I started it off talking about how this was about personal empowerment and things like that, things that were less big picture and much more down to earth and close to home. And the reason is because at the end of the day, look, very few of us, I think these are the words of JFK, RFK, I believe it was. In any event, he basically said that there are very few people who will have the greatness to bend history to their will. But each of us can do little things in our own sphere. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said, and I couldn't agree more. So, in my opinion, we've all got very good cause to focus on what's going on in our backyard and personal empowerment. More so now than ever before. This has been a good reason, a good cause for a long time, but now so more than ever. So, without further ado, let's take a look at something that I believe will be meaningful to a lot of people. Because if you haven't encountered this in some way, someone you care about has, and so that's really what the situation that I'm going to be describing here is that someone dear to me has received some paperwork, which I'm going to put up on the screen here in a second. We're going to go through it. Okay? So, keeping in mind that everything in every country is based on a system of law, we'd be complete fools to run around ignorant of the way that law works and is supposed to work, right? Because those are definitely two different things in many cases. That knowledge can't be replaced with anything else, can't be substituted. You can't hire someone else to have this knowledge for you, right? We might call that a lawyer. That's a completely different thing than what I'm talking about here, right? We talk about self-empowerment. We talk about law, not statutes and codes and legality, okay? How is this useful? Well, it's useful because when you have something like this sent to you, let's pull it up right now, or someone you love, when you have something like this sent to you and you don't know what it is, you may find yourself in a situation you didn't want to find yourself in. So we need to fix our ignorance. I've realized that we're in the situation we're in nationally because we nationally have neglected to learn law. That might sound like an oversimplification. That might sound like, well, this guy's just obsessed with law, so of course he thinks that. No, I've spent a tremendous amount of time trying to get to the bottom of various problems, and what I've realized time and time again, it all comes back to law. It all comes back to law. You got an executive order that you don't like? Well, guess what? If you know about law, then you know how to deal with it. You got police trying to do something to you that you don't like? Well, guess what? If you know about law, then you know how to protect yourself. Okay, maybe not on the spot. I mean, nobody wants to get shot by the side of the road. But if you know how to sue them later and you know how to talk about it in advance and set that up so that you understand, ignorance of law touches everything. The school's doing something with your kids and you don't like it. Law. You get an offer, okay, like the one here. So let's break it down. Home isolation agreement. It's an agreement. But in order for an agreement to be binding, it has to be what? Agreed to, right? Okay, this is basic stuff, folks. This is basic stuff. That's why they don't teach it in schools, because if you know this stuff, you are a huge step closer to invulnerable to their tricks. And it's easy to learn. So that's why they don't teach this stuff, okay? This is all super basic stuff. Super basic. But you got to take time to learn it. Like anything else, you got to switch off your little doodads and shut down the videos that aren't teaching you anything and actually get into something that's worth something that's going to empower you. This is power, baby. Let me tell you what. I have squashed thousands of dollars of debt for different people, myself included. I have gone up against all kinds of ridiculous nonsense. I will freely admit I've not had to walk into a courtroom and put this stuff to the ultimate test, but that's the beauty of it. You want to stay out of the courtrooms, huh? You're more powerful out of the courtroom, trust me. Because in the courtroom, they can pull all kinds of funky tricks on you, and you got to deal with it on the spot. So, without further ado, home isolation agreement, right? By now, I'm sure you've had a chance to take a look at this. You go on down the line. I want to call a couple things to your attention here. Patient name, right? We blocked the personal information, but I want you to notice I left the last name because I want you to see it's in all caps. That does mean something, okay? They're not looking for a living man. They're looking for a patient, right? Were you born a patient or were you born a man or a woman? You know what I'm saying here? Patient, what? So they're using legal fictions here, and so therefore they're after the all caps name, all right? It's interesting, and I'm not saying that these people that are involved in this are thinking about this consciously, but I'm just telling you what I see, right? You look at city, Horseheads. Well, the city, that's incorporated, right? Literally incorporated, all right? You could find the date of incorporation for the city of Horseheads. I guarantee it. It's in all caps. County, on the other hand, I don't know when the county was established, but it's not the same thing. We don't, to my knowledge, we don't incorporate counties. Okay, and it's in what you would call what do you call it? I forget the term. I'm not going to waste time, but it's not all caps, right? So you see there, the county, which is a constitutional thing, right? Unlike a corporation, is just right there in regular. So just interesting things that jump out at me. Okay, and you look here. I shall remain in home isolation, right? You're expected to check this stuff. Put a little check mark there, like you're acknowledging it. This is a contract, okay? So you go on down the line. I mean, this is some real nanny state stuff, boy. This is some real nanny state stuff. You ready for this one? Page 2. My eating and drinking utensils will be washed with hot water and a household dishwashing detergent. What kind of Mickey Mouse hold my hand bullshit is this? I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm surprised they didn't tell you how you're supposed to use the bathroom. Or maybe it's in here somewhere and I just didn't see it. It's just unbelievable stuff. But again, you will put up with what you put up with, right? You will suffer what you agree to. That's how this works. This is voluntary. This is consent stuff, baby. Okay, we keep on going down the line, and this is why I put this up, so you could really look at it if you want to, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. You go on down the line, and it says right there, the provisions of this agreement have been explained to me by a CCHD representative, and I fully understand. Ooh, there's that word, my word magic video, right? Understand? Stand under? You want to stand under this? Go right ahead. Sign. Go ahead. Pop your name right over there. Agree to it, and you will be held to it. Okay? I fully understand that my failure to follow these guidelines or to voluntarily remain in isolation may result in my being placed in involuntary isolation or committed to a facility where I may be isolated against my wishes. And then they got the name of the straw man over there, the title for the straw man. Okay, right? And then, of course, they want a signature over there.